Thank you, Sam. Thank you, team. Thank you, everyone. I was taking notes as Sarah mentioned. Document your decisions, and there was one decision that I just took right when I was making that, at least in Sarah's presentation. Say, okay, I'm gonna start, and here I was taking notes of everything. Yeah, so follow what Sarah just mentioned, and we should all be right. So, thank you .NET, thank you Microsoft, thank you Sam for the opportunity to bring this topic. This topic is very inspired on things that I've been seeing around because we all developers, we know uh, command life or text-based applications are a thing, but most of the time we just see those applications as a way for us to try new things. Whenever you're testing, you .NET, you create the console application and then you test it and you never use it again. But we all got to admit that every time you go to Costco or you go to a supermarket or you go into a bank, we see applications like this. You see people that are attending you or doing something for you, they have these type of applications. And these applications have been around for many years now, and they're still used, and that might be a good reason. We will be discussing what are the best reasons, but the thing is that terminal-based applications can be CLIs, command line interfaces, or TUIs, which is the topic that we're going to be discussing, which is terminal user interface, are still very relevant in our day-to-day. And the reason why they're relevant is because they provide performance, they provide reliability. So as a .NET developer that we might be using only those terminal applications only for testing, I want to show you some cool tools and tips how we can get the best as our console application, and we can create beautiful applications, with good architecture. You know, we .NET developers, we love architectures. So all the .NET application, console application doesn't need to be scripts. And so that's what I'm going to be discussing, creating modern CLIs and terminal user interfaces with applications with .NET, and you see everything .NET. My name is Andres Pineda. I'm a senior developer, and I'm also part of the Uno Platform Core developer team. So as I mentioned, we have been working together. The same, if you saw the presentation from Jerome, if you just joining now, if you didn't see it, just roll back after this, or you can watch it later. With presentation from Jerome, co-host of the .NET Dominican meetup. This is a user group where we just bring the beautiful of .NET into to the Dominican Republic, and this is my socials. The agenda is just pretty much the evolution of the user interface, CLIs versus TUIs, getting started with the TUIs on .NET, tools that are available for us to use beyond UI, like what are the architectural decisions that we can take for TUIs, and just a final conclusion. So evolution of the interfaces, we back in the days, probably most of the people that are in this call never have to deal with the punch card, but the first outputs application had computers were in punch card or paper trails, either or. That was back at the beginning. Then we started seeing text-based interfaces. So the same thing that we started talking about, things that are still relevant in our day-to-day were things that were invented in the 60s. So they're not new. This is not a new trend. It's just things that exist and will continue existing. Then we move from the test base that was mainly commands, and you remember all the things that you wanted to do, F2, F5, combination with controls, and then we move to graphical interfaces. Graphical interfaces, mainly this case, desktop. So in this case, we started using more the pointers, the mouse, and the trackpads and all that kind of stuff. And it's nice, but we went really far. And I say far because if you take this example as an example, there are so many options. There are so many things to the point that you get into one application like this, and I know this is not a problem of the desktop. This is a problem of the type of applications, the type of problem that this desktop application is trying to solve. But still, I mean, whenever it has to use any kind of this software that has so many buttons, you get lost. But that's what it is. Graphical interfaces, you use the mouse, but by using the mouse, you keep changing context because the mouse make you a little bit slower. Then we move from the desktop into the web so that we can use that interface that allows us for us to connect to different server, different applications, regardless where they are. So as we didn't have any more the restriction that the desktop application has, that you needed to be in front of that computer that has that desktop application installed, that now you can launch applications like Figma in this case, and if any browser will be able to handle it. And then the evolution continued from the web, then came the mobile, and from the mobile, there's even interfaces when there's not even scrim. So now with this Alexa style, Siri styles, where you can just send a voice command and the application will do something for you. So usually, buy this, what the weather, do calculations. So in these situations, we see more of this happening in our day life. But still, regardless of the evolution that we just saw, there's still these type of applications that are relevant. And as I mentioned, the reason why they are relevant is because they are reliable and they are fast. They are really, really fast. Things that applications on the web, you can see that will go very far in terms of performance, but still there are situations when you need more, or you will require a higher computers with higher processors and resources when an application like this one would not require a lot. And before getting started into the main topic, I want to make the distinction between what is one thing, which is CLIs, or command line interfaces, versus the TUIs, the terminal user interfaces. So CLI, both of them are test-based, both of them run on the console, but the CLI is most seen like a command base. So basically you have an application like, for example, the GitHub client or the Git client that you call a command, you call the utility, you pass a command, you pass on flags, and you will do something for you. So yeah, the GitHub CLI is a very good sample for this. Also, the Git CLI is another good sample for that. There are many. Developers, we use many tools that are still based on the CLI. And a cool one that we can take an example is the UnoCheck. If you saw your own presentation, the UnoCheck CLI is this nice tool that we made available for everyone, so that you can install it and then you can configure your environment with all the tools that you need in order to create cross-platform applications. Because cross-platform developing is nice until you have to configure your computer to be able to develop for all those different platforms that cross-platform technology has set. So the UnoCheck, you install it, you run, and you can pass some flags, and it will make sure that you have your Android dependency, your iOS dependency, your Windows dependency, your Linux dependency, and everything wrong. So this is a nice tool that if you haven't used or you're using Uno platform, I would invite you to go ahead and use it. But on the other side, when we're talking about terminal UIs, this is mostly referring to applications that also use a test-based environment, but instead of being a command-based, they have a more structured layout. So they look more like a desktop application, but it is all from the terminal. So taking back the UnoCheck application, imagine that instead of you running UnoCheck and passing parameters and you run everything, is you just launch an app and you can click and select things that you want to configure, and then you click on run, and you will have this little console application that will give you the output of that utility. That'd be really nice, right? So that's the difference. One is more based on commands. The other one is more based on the layout looks more polished, so we want to say in a way it's more organized. So NeoVim, for example, is one of those applications. NeoVim is editor that you can basically, it's a co-editor or text editor that you can run from the terminal. It's a good sample for this. So now that we know the difference between one and the other, it's time for us to get into how we can get started building CLIs and TUIs from .NET. Probably we all know that because creating a console application is probably the first things that you did when you were learning .NET. Console applications is the main starting point because they will run on the console. But besides from the tools that we get directly from Microsoft, that they are good and they keep improving. For example, .NET 10, I know that they included the single file project that you can just create a hello world.cs and you just .NET run hello world.cs and you don't need a project anymore. That is what .NET and Microsoft keep doing to make this whole developer environment more rounded, more better, I would say. And I know as well that the system command line, there's a new package or new namespace in the console. That system command line would allow you to do more with the parsing of the parameters. We know that every time we're talking about command lines, at some point you will need to parse parameters. And with the tools that we had before .NET 10, it was not as good. I mean, part of the .NET, because we know that we have libraries, external libraries. And one of those libraries is Spectre console. So from now on, we're going to be talking about the different libraries that we have available in order to build terminal and command line applications. So Spectre console might be, if you have ever needed to do something more than just it's very simple script, you might be using already Spectre console. This is a .NET library that makes life easier for all .NET developers to create beautiful console applications. Basically, with this library, has different parts because it has the beautiful that you can put colors like errors, warning, you can use icons and symbols and stuff, but also they have some sort of for prompting, for capturing, there's some widgets that you can include as part of your applications. Getting started with this is just a package. So once you create your .NET console application, you just need to .NET add package and you just install the package. And from there, you can start doing things. I want to jump really quick on the source code. Let me see, where's my console, my terminal. So as I say, it's just a console. I'm not even going to create a console application because I think most of you already know. So I'm going to start from an application that I already created. This is a to-do application that it's that is basically just a console application. And I make sure to include the Spectre console. Let me click this out. There's a lot of things happening here. And I'm just going to guide you through really quick because it's not how we do it, but what we are getting. The most important part, this is very basic. We have a record that is going to represent our task, and we have the actual application that is the one that is going to be handling the capturing, the printing, and the handling the errors. So we have the async console, the prompts. We have methods from Spectre to clear our UI and to write tests to the console. Here we can make any choice. You can add choices that are going to be available through the keyboard. And then these are the CRUD operations to deal with tasks. All this is happening in memory, but through the presentations later, when in another topic, I'm going to be showing how we can enhance this application to make it like a real application. So we're going to be going from using memory to using local-based CLI database, and then we're gonna replace that CLI database by using a MongoDB database that is connected somewhere in the outside, and it's an atlas, right? And also the final version is how we modify to use, dependency injection and inversion of control, so that we can change our implementation whenever we want a SQLite or we want the Mongo. But for now, let's continue seeing the CRUD. This is toggle. It's not that important. So now the actual program that we run, if you see, everything is in a single file. Later, also, we're going to be changing this and making it more robust. So we run the application, we just create an instance, and we click around. So if we run this application from the console, I got it here, and let me make sure that I'm in the right place. Okay, .NET Run. And this is going to launch to-do application that I can run from the console. Basically, you see, it's very basic. I can view my task. I don't have any task. I can add a new task. listen to .NET Conf talks. And then I can toggle the task. Right now it is in state, so it now is completed, and they have a table, you have a state, you have a beautiful colors. All this comes from Spectre console. So all these capabilities that Spectre provides are amazing, and I understand why Spectre console is the go-to library whenever we want to create CLIs and TUIs applications. So this is nice, and but I want to continue talking about all the tools that are available. So Spectre Console is there, is open source. You can use it in your projects as of now. But there's well, that was the demo that we just saw really quick. So we're gonna come back later. There's another one that have been catching my eyes, catching my attention because of it's very well written. Well, and the approach is different. Not because Spectre Console is also nice, but the approach is different. This is more like a toolkit for building rich console applications. It's a cross-platform. And the name cross-platform, I work for a cross-platform technology. That's why it's so amazing. This library, one of the maintainer is Miguel de Casa. If you know Miguel de Casa from back in the days, creator, one of the creator of Xamarin and the many things that we all love about the cross-platform.net. So this one is the way because why it is so captivating is because it treats everything. So from the start, everything is is you have a window, you have views, you have events, right? You have in a command line, you will have events that you can subscribe, you listen to events, you have the click, you have the completed, all the things. So think of it as if you are working with a WinUI desktop application and you're building UI for the desktop, or you're working with Uno platform, right? But instead of you be rendering in the one of the targets for Uno platform, you're gonna be rendering on the console. But the whole structure of the application is so nice and so well written that's why I chose this one of the applications that I wanted to show. So this one, Terminal.Gui, also cross-platform. You have two ways to work with this application. Basically, you have a way that it is by installing a template. They provide a template that you can install. Terminal.Gui that templates. And then you can create an application with that template. I think I already have installed it. .NET new install terminal templates. Yes, they are in version 2.0 right now, which is still in alpha. But you can use it. It's solid so far. So I'm gonna enter into that directory. Let me use version 2 because I was using both applications. So from here, if we want to see the code, I create an application. So yeah, basically the template asks you .NET new TUI. TUI. So instead of using console, you use TUI and then -n, which is going to be the name of your console application, of your Terminal.Gui application. And you pass the name and it will immediately create this project. So this project that you have here, what is this? I think it is this one. Oh, this is the version 1. Okay, I can open a new one and hold it anytime. So I'm gonna do code and I'm gonna open a new one. Okay, so this is the application. This is what it creates. Don't look at the code that is commented. It's something that I want to show you later. So this is the find new project. And if you see, there is a view and there's a view designer. And both of them, you see, are generated code, and you might wonder what is this that generated. It's because the Terminal.Gui also includes includes a tool that you can use. The tool is called Terminal.Gui Designer. So yes, you will have a designer that you can use no, let me go sample design .cs. You will have a designer in the console that you can use to create applications. So let me, I don't remember, I think it's to do at TUI, GUI. I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. So this is a designer that is a canvas, is in the console, and from here you can start adding components. What components they have available? They have a lot. They have, for example, a button that you can, you select the button and you can drag and drop the button where you want it to be. And then you can continue doing this. For example, text field. They got it somewhere. Text field. Let me get that label. Let me get .net .net conf 2025. And then also I'll put it here. So once you're done, once you can configure, you can click F4 and then you can change the arrangement, you can focus. You see, the API looks a lot like WinUI API, or also also on the Uno Conf, on the Uno platform. You can change the alignment of the task if it is visible, the width, if it is that dimension is automatic, that means it's gonna grow or not. So yeah, as you can see, many of the properties that are available for this are things that basically you have available also when working with Uno or when working with WinUI. So once you're done with the designer, you can just click on escape, you save it, and your file with the designer created is gonna be part of your project. So I call it, what was the name? What was the name? Was my dialogue? Yeah, Sampe design. Okay, this is the one I created. And basically this is the C# code that it generated once you completed the putting together the things that you needed. This is really nice. Once you run this application, then you're gonna have an application that just .NET Run. Let me do Ctrl+C, .NET Run. You're gonna have an application that's running locally on the console, and we will have the good things about Terminal.Gui is that it just takes everything as it's just a window, so you have context of everything, not only a script that is part of running. So you have all the stuff, but you don't need necessarily to have the designer. You can create controls with C#, and this is the thing that I wanted to show you. So I'm gonna comment this out really quick. And this is coming from an example that I created, example window. So I created this. It's like a login button, a login page. And if we run again, we're gonna have again a TUI application, but now with a UI that is more to things that So we didn't use the designer for this. Basically, what I want to say, you have options to click. You have options to click also in this list view that you have at the bottom, so that we can continue and times give us the opportunity. The last tool that I want to display is Racer Console. This one is, I just learned about this like a week and a half ago, probably 2 weeks. So imagine that you can use Racer syntax and you can create that Racer syntax can create terminal application. This is what basically Racer Console is just use Racer syntax on top of the Spectre console. And then you use Racer to create your applications. This is also a .NET package. So you create your application, and then all you need to do is make sure that you include that package on your side. So you have, this is a very simple application. And let me Command Shift B so I can hide this, and Command B. Basically here you have a Racer page control. And then here you have the code, and you have access to run the application by just doing the host. It's very simple, very straightforward. But the good thing about this is that you can, if you're a web developer doing .NET ROM, if you're a web developer doing Racer or Blazor, you already know the razor syntax, and you want to build terminal applications that looks nice, you just basically use this. You see, you have the click event that you are listening, and you are incrementing the console, incrementing the counter with this event. All right, so I'm about to run out of time, but I want to show something is that how we deal with things that are outside of the terminal, outside of the UI. How about architecture? How about things that are gonna make my application to be easier to work with and also easier to orchestrate? That's what architecture are for. So let's say that I want to add a local persistence. So the same applications that we have first for the database, now we added it was already included. So now we added a repository, basically, that we have the capability to save our to-dos into tables. So if we do .NET run, I'm gonna run it from here, so it's faster. If we do a .NET run, then we are gonna be able to persist those information at new task, .NET conf, and view task. We have one, we exit. It says that are not saved, but they are actually saved. That was actually an error. But we run again, and we say the view task. We see that the task is there because we are persisting that information on tables. And the same way that we deal with that, we can also include MongoDB that it's actually implemented, but I won't be able because we don't have as much time available. And also, if you want your terminal applications to connect to APIs, nothing stop you from that. The goal for this presentation is not that all your applications from now on you're gonna do terminal applications, but for you to understand that the same power that you get on desktop application, mobile applications, web applications, everywhere where .NET runs, you can get the same power and the same features in an application that's going to run in the terminal. Not all applications might not need to be in the terminal, but the ones that need it, you don't need to create something on the web just because it is the viewport that you know the most or that people use the most. Terminal-based applications are good, are powerful, and I invite you to learn about this tools and put it in practice. And if you have questions, please let me know. And thank you very much for hosting me this evening.